Tron was another of Disney's films from the early 1980s, designed to coincide with the boom and interest in the burgeoning computer and technical revolution that was taking place. Much like their earlier Black Hole movie, Tron was heavily focused on the new computer graphics, which attempted to tap into the new methods of creating graphics using computers. However, due to the slow process of these computers and the cost, very little of Tron's effects were done by computer, and again, a lot of it was hand-drawn and painted. CGI effects would ultimately come into their own with the likes of the impressive T-Rex in Jurassic Park and The Abyss. This was a huge departure for filmgoers, having grown used to stop-motion effects, which the likes of Ray Harryhausen used in Jason and the Argonauts, or were hand-painted, as with the much earlier Disney creations such as Peter Pan and Jungle Book. In the very late 70s and early 80s, arcades were full of gaming machines, such as Space Invaders, Pac-Man, and later the likes of Punch-Out and Commando. These were noisy places full of competing sounds and music, and brightly coloured artwork on the machine, and flickering bright colours of the games. Tron taps into this zeitgeist, with its colours and lightsaber-like effects and the distinctly digital music. At the beginning of the film there is a short sequence showing light effects, as if they are digital circuitry. Combined with this is the sound of almost angelic choir music. It resonates with those who obsess over or love tech, programming and gaming, as it appeals to how these high-tech possibilities allow us to free our imaginations to see that through technology, anything is possible. The beginning of the film, going from a simplistic arcade machine of light cycles, as lines in a screen, moving to full 3D in the film, really bring the worlds to life. It is catnip to gamers everywhere. In comparison to other science fiction films that had gone before, there were no spandex costumes or flowing capes, such as Darth Vader or Lando Calrissian, no big boots and cardboard scenery. The world in Tron is all light and spectacle. It is literally light years away from what had been seen before. Even the language used perfectly fits the ethos of the film. Quotes such as,
"Useful, he takes over all your functions, so he gets bigger. And if he can't use you, he sends you down here to the game grid to get the bits blasted out of you.
And what's your username? They were spot on for understanding and engaging with the early gamers in the scene, as well as appealing to those who could see the tsunami of technology that was to come and reshape our world. Another example is,
sending me down here to play games. Who does he calculate he is?
Very apt. The smartest choice Tron makes is quickly moving behind screens of programming to a fully, truly vivid 3D world. The Matrix did something similar. Instead of lines of code on a screen, we see an endless flow of characters drifting down a green screen, literally visualizing the mundane world of source code and the basis of all things computing and console. Even better, it has an investigative computer program visualized as a tank, giving some tension and drama in the scenes. Jeff Bridges is a solid actor and a good choice for the role in both worlds. At this time, home computers were still in their infancy, but selling rapidly. Tech language such as RAM, bits and bytes and user interfaces were very much the watchwords of the day, with computers at the time struggling to be free of the command line interfaces of DOS and moving to the very basic but still better Windows 3.1 and Windows 95. Throughout the film, Tron always pays respect to this and sits on its shoulders. There is, of course, a comical element to the early film, as the tank/investigative program crashes into a wall and Bridges shouts, "Damn it!" Program debugging and virus elimination would surely be much more fun if you could do it all while driving a digital tank in cyberspace. It was a smart choice to have the protagonists and the antagonists' faces by the same actors in the digital world and the real world, because it gave them a sense of reality and made the connections so we knew who and what we were rooting for or against. The MCP and the corporation that has taken over their digital world of Tron appeared like an early version of the likes of Microsoft and Facebook, Apple and Alphabet, etc. The sad reality of modern-day versions is that they make much of their profits from selling phones or forcing ads on people, and are light years away from the legacy of vibrant gaming or the possibilities of the electronic worlds. Mark Zuckerberg appears to be attempting to capture a new zeitgeist with his VR headsets and create a new digital world. But he can never escape from his social media platform awash with endless ads. Another good choice the film makes is to avoid dithering. It moves along quickly and doesn't worry about the audience wondering why characters do as they do. Another thing that comes up is the idea of out-of-control AI, much as we see in Disney's Black Hole, 2001, and is much in the press nowadays. There's always been a fear that the technology that we create may someday do us harm, but the reality is we are far more likely to do ourselves harm than any computer. The basis of the film is a programmer called Bad Guy, who has taken over the corporation, and Flynn, a talented if geekish programmer who fights against him. These are the protagonists and are similar in nature to the plot and characters of the recent Ryan Reynolds film Free Guy. That is fundamentally the same plot with a goofy twist to it, but shows Hollywood's lack of originality compared now to any other media. The film really takes off with Flynn transported into the world of Tron, which brings the entire film to life. The idea that a whole person can be digitized and sent into a real world is immense. In real-world terms, we have VR, and such as Star Trek have had holographic rooms which could transport us into any setting we wished, like VR on steroids. This takes it to the nth degree, literally, in a game world, albeit in a simpler one. With Flynn becoming a character within this digital world, it really does come full circle as the basis of the Matrix. A particularly good idea in the film were the identity discs, which stored all the characters' info. It also served as the basis for the disc game, which is another seminal part of the film and the games that followed. The light cycles part of the film is very enjoyable, full of atmosphere and a perfect mix of video game and film. A funny sequence in the film is when Flynn escapes the cycles, and the bad guy looks on the screen to see where he is, and we see Pac-Man chasing him, as if he is the ghost and Flynn is the escaper. The tanks chasing are again reminiscent of games like Battlezone, with lit-up tanks in pursuit. Any gamer will fully feel the sense of enjoyment and tension, but imagine being in the world and experiencing it. That's what Tron brought. There is a simplicity to Tron, the characters and settings, which is part of its charm. It doesn't need huge explosions or action scenes. Often just small events like them climbing up and seeing a digital vista is enough to give a sense of what it is about. As a source of games and as a film, Tron is dead on. Tron shows what you get when you have people who know how to write a good story and combine their understanding and appreciation for the subject matter. You always share the wonder of the moment. There are definitely elements of Star Wars in the film, as the protagonists try to get to the MCP, or the Death Star as it were. It seems Disney was trying to meld the best parts of that film and the new electronic age. As with Black Hole at the time, there appears certain religious elements in the film, such as with the gatekeeper and how Tron attempts to talk with his user, as if he is communicating with God. The MCP has large elements which are highly relevant today, mentioning as starting as a chess program, and now it is all-conquering. It shows even people are aware of the potential for AI to take over, allegedly. Ultimately, Tron is the perfect amalgamation of video game and film. It didn't do particularly well at the box office, or with awards, but it always appealed to a certain kind of user, and those users are very much like gamers, who will feel a connection to this that others won't. Even if it had been released now, it would still likely have had the same reception, but it was and is an eternal cult favourite of mine, and of many others. Tron is highly recommended to see if you too can enter the digital world.